Okay, so update on the RV. Pile's getting bigger. Even though we are emptying it out periodically, filling up trash cans, 2 or 3 trash cans once a week, and bringing some of the bulk stuff to the curb, the pile still feels like it's just getting bigger no matter how many things we take away from it. This is what we're looking at. Completely empty. No shower, no toilet, no kitchen, no nothing. So I'm going to take you guys through some of our plans that we're hoping to implement one day eventually. So let's start from the back of the RV first. So back here in the very rear of the RV, we're hoping to do some sort of U-shaped bench with a table all back here. We would like to have the bench going from here to here to here, nice couches on that, and hopefully to flip up and have some storage underneath. Maybe with a cute coffee table in the middle to extend up to be a dining table or just a dining table. Either way, surrounded by all the 3 windows here. That's what we're hoping for. Possibly some ceiling cabinets up there. Not entirely sure on that yet because we feel it might make the room feel more enclosed and tight, but if we find that we need more storage space, we might end up doing that. So looking from the back of the RV here into the front, this here is going to be our kitchen area because that's where it was previously, and we would like to not mess with the plumbing as much if we don't have to. So our kitchen area is going to be here. Everything's probably going to stay around the same setup that was in here previously, again just for convenience so we don't have to rearrange a lot of the plumbing, but refrigerator might go here with sink and countertop area in the middle, and then possibly the stove there on the end right where it connects to the propane tank underneath. So kitchen area here flowing into the back U-shaped bench area here, and then directly opposite to the kitchen area would be where the bathroom was. Originally, we were going to put back there again, most likely. Again, these are just our plans for right now. We're hoping to stay with this. So it's going to have the shower here again where it already was, right in this little area. And then directly next to that, right there, was the toilet. Again, we'll probably do the same thing. They also had a countertop in sink area here next to the toilet. And shower, toilet, sink, and countertop. And then the hallway will be in the middle here between the bathroom and the kitchen. And then up here, this is where we're still unsure about. Originally, just like all of the RVs, when you walk in, there was a dinette set, which I think you can remember from the first video. It was a bench seat here, a bench seat here directly on the opposite side of the bathroom wall, and then a dining room table in the middle of them right by the window. We may end up doing that again because the freshwater tank is perfectly installed underneath one of the bench seats here already. So it would be a lot easier to keep that there instead of relocating it to somewhere else, which might end up being a hassle. We did want to have some sort of like bar top in here to set up our laptops on and work on bar stools and look out the pretty window. That might still be an option if we can somehow install a bar top here, and then maybe still use this as a short couch seat and maybe some bar stools on the opposite side. Again, really not sure on this area yet. Moving up here, this is the overhead cab. So those are the driver's seats. Driver's seats are right in here. And then up here is the overhead cab. We're gonna have our bed right up here. It looks smaller right now because there's this gap right here, but normally there's gonna be a plank, a paneling right there to make it one big surface. This is actually one of the bigger overhead cabs that I've seen before. Again, it's kind of hard to imagine because there is going to be another wooden plank here to make the whole thing one big flat surface. Window there. You can't really see the window right there now because there's a tarp hanging over from the outside. Same thing with right there. So that will be where we're sleeping. That will be our bed space up there. And then driver space. And then we do have one tiny little nook over here when you walk into the right behind the driver's panel. Still not sure what we want to do there yet. We might do some sort of storage there, but we really like the tall, narrow window, so we're not exactly sure yet. So these are our plans for right now, what we're hoping to accomplish way down the road one day when we even can get to the designing aspect of our project. So the next step that we need to start doing right now, since we just got it all gutted, everything is completely out, the next thing that we have to do is the roof. We need to completely reconstruct the roof along with all of our walls in here, since most of it, if not all of it, is completely water damaged. So with that, we need to start from the top, bottom, and tearing it down. In the demolition process for our shell of the RV, we need to work from the roof to the walls to the floor. Once that is all torn down, then we start building from the bottom up again. So once everything is torn down and completely demolished and empty, then we're going to start reconstructing the floor. Parts of the floor don't seem that bad, but parts like this area here sink in very easily when you step on it, and it's most likely going to be all rotted. Again, we haven't pulled it up and looked at it ourselves personally yet, but we're just going to assume it's all rotted. So once the roof is off, once the paneling is down, once the floors are also demolished, then we're going to reconstruct the floors. Once the floors are all done being reconstructed, then we're going to move on to the walls. For the walls, what we have to do is, our RV is made up of a fiberglass shell. So what that means is that our walls are built with a similar structure as the roof. Our walls are made out of a layer of plywood, which is the most interior. It's the wallpaper walls that you can see in here now. It's a sheet of most likely 1/4-inch plywood, and then a layer of styrofoam, rigid styrofoam board insulation, and then behind that is the framework. And then behind that is the fiberglass shell. So some RVs have fiberglass shell around them for the exterior, and some of them have aluminum paneling. Ours does not have the aluminum. Done some research on the pros and cons of aluminum versus fiberglass. So I'm kind of happy after doing that research that we have the fiberglass based on what I've learned. So we have to keep intact all the fiberglass. If you look here, so actually, let's start from back here. This is the most interior layer here of our RV. This is the wallpaper, which is directly layered on the first layer of paneling, which is the 1/4-inch plywood. Underneath the wallpaper here is the first layer of paneling. Underneath that first layer of paneling, you'll see the rigid styrofoam board insulation, which is all this red and pink stuff in here, and white. Behind that styrofoam boards is another layer of paneling. That layer of paneling is directly attached to the outside exterior fiberglass layer. So right here is the outside of our RV. After that, again, is our styrofoam, and after that is some more wood paneling. So we just have to peel it off layer by layer by layer until we get to the fiberglass layer. Once we get to that fiberglass layer, we're going to let all of our walls completely dry. Since there's a lot of water damage in here and mold in here, we need to dry out everything before we start reconstructing anything. I actually started peeling off some of the styrofoam, and this is a lot more dry than when I worked on it this morning, which is very surprising because it's kind of humid out and it's kind of damp out, and we're getting rain the next week. So since the weather forecast says that we're expecting to get rain from now until middle of next week, we really can't do much more for our demolition process just yet, because the next step is removing the roof, and we definitely can't do that with rain in the forecast because that could potentially cause a lot more damage on the inside, which we don't need right now. We also can't start peeling off any of the layers of the inside paneling yet, because when we start taking off the styrofoam, that layer right behind the styrofoam is the layer that needs to dry out. So we can start taking off the styrofoam, but we can't do that also when there's rain in the forecast, because again, that layer needs to dry right behind us. So if we take it off while it's raining, it's just going to make it more wet and take longer to dry. So we can't take off the roof, we can't remove any of the styrofoam paneling yet until we have a nice, clear, sunny, dry forecast, at least for a few days, to start and get through that whole process of the roof and the panels. And obviously we can't do the floors until the roof and the wall panels are done, so we kind of just have to wait for the rain to pass. It's pretty nice out right now, but I think late tonight and going into early tomorrow morning we're expecting rain, so I definitely don't want to start anything like that yet. So we might be doing some random stuff in the meantime, just so we're not wasting time. We might start looking at appliances to purchase online that we're going to need. We may specifically start looking into stoves and ovens that we're interested in buying, because we're going to be building our own kitchen countertop and kitchen cabinets from scratch. So that's going to be Brandon's project. He's going to be doing that. I'm going to try and help him as much as I can with it. So basically, we want to get an idea of what kind of stove and oven we want to get, because depending on how tall that is, that's how we're going to have to determine the dimensions of our kitchen countertop and cabinet area. So we might start doing that. We might start doing research on appliances, what we want to buy, and then possibly start making our kitchen cabinetry in the meantime, because if this rain is supposed to be going on for another week and a half, then we have to keep productive during that time. So if anyone has any advice or tips or inspiration for our plans I mentioned earlier in the video, feel free to leave some comments down below, give us a like, give us a share, and I'll be happy to hear from you all.